Since his inauguration 3 weeks ago, President Trump has taken dozens of actions in an attempt to reshape government and his executive power. Many of those actions have been met with legal challenges. A federal judge ordered government agencies to restore public access to a number of web pages that were removed following Trump's executive order targeting the use of, quote, gender ideology. A group of government contractors filed a lawsuit challenging the Trump administration's attempt to shut down the United States Agency for International Development, or USAID, which is key in distributing foreign aid. The head of the federal agency that protects whistleblowers sued the administration for illegal termination, and that's just the past 2 days. CBS News Justice Department reporter Rob Legare joins me now. Rob, of all the cases, what are some of the most significant, maybe one or two facing the DOJ, that really have the ability to impede what the Trump administration is trying to do?
Hey, Lindsay, good evening. So, as you laid out at the beginning, these cases are at the very forefront of the legal lifeline, if you will. So the legal life cycle starts here in the district court level, and they're all right there at this point. There are a few key cases that we're watching that are kind of underpinned by the president's campaign promises. One of those would have been his immigration campaign promises. He campaigned on rescinding birthright citizenship. That is something that he issued an executive order and got legal challenges across the board from Seattle to the East Coast. And so we're really watching cases there where that birthright citizenship is now blocked and on hold, and it proceeds through the legal life cycle. What we're also watching for is, as you talked about at the top of the show, efforts by the president, the federal government, to shrink the federal government, the size of the federal workforce. There's that deferred resignation buyback program that the president issued into existence through his executive order. We're waiting on a ruling from a Massachusetts judge after hearing just yesterday to decide what happens next in that case. So immigration, one campaign promise, changing the face of the federal government, another. Right now, those are at the legal forefront of this entire battle.
With all these legal challenges against the Trump administration, it seems like the DOJ will have a lot on their hands. Can you help us understand how the institution works and what their job will be as these legal challenges move forward?
Yeah, that's right. So the Justice Department, it's kind of helpful to think about it, a criminal arm and a civil arm. If you look at the criminal arm, that's the National Security Division, the criminal division, they prosecute cases, they investigate cases, and then they bring cases where they allege people broke the law. On the other side, you have the Justice Department's civil arm. They bring civil action in civil court, not criminal, where lawsuits are filed. They file against individuals, and importantly, most importantly, particularly in the cases we're talking about, they defend the government. So think about the Justice Department in these cases as the defense attorneys of the federal government, of the White House, and all the agencies that extend from the White House and the executive branch. So if the Office of Management and Budget, the Office of Personnel Management, they're sued, they don't have their own attorneys within those agencies. The Justice Department goes and defends them in federal court. And so, like any defense attorney, it's the Justice Department's job to zealously defend their client. So in all these cases, we hear Justice Department attorneys defending the actions of the federal government here, defending the theory behind the executive orders, and pushing forward the agenda of the agencies under which the executive branch is overseeing.
Something really interesting we heard from the vice president is that he's recently said, quote, judges aren't allowed to control the executive's legitimate power. He seemed to raise the question about whether judges and courts have enforcement power. Do they?
So short answer, no. Judges, courts don't have enforcement power. Law enforcement in our constitutional system falls to the executive branch at the federal system. And so we see the Justice Department has their law enforcement arm, the FBI, the DEA, the U.S. Marshal Service. They interface with the federal court system a lot. The FBI, the DEA, they collect evidence and present it to courts on behalf of the executive branch, the law enforcement arm. The U.S. Marshal Service, they defend courthouses, they protect judges, and they apprehend fugitives from the law who are on the run or who might be skipping out on court hearings. But again, they work for the executive branch, not the judicial branch. So no, the judicial branch does not have any enforcement mechanism other than the force of the rulings it makes.
Okay, Rob Legare, thank you so much.